So New York City principals and teachers, they are leading the chorus for the Department of Education to delay the start of the school year. But Mayor Bill de Blasio is not budging.
Our educators are extraordinarily devoted to our kids. And they understand there's just no way to serve our kids as well remotely as when they're in the classroom. And I can say in New York City, we have teachers coming back and we're going to have the resources to serve our kids.
Other major cities have opted against in-person learning, and so have some districts in New Jersey. Time, though, is running out for New York City to make the call. So joining me this morning to talk about it is Mark Cannizzaro, the president of the Council of School Supervisors and Administrators. Mark, thanks for being with us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so you represent 6,400 school principals and supervisors. Why do they feel so unprepared to be back in the classroom? We've been talking about this for quite some time. You think that mentally they would have this on their minds, but I understand it's more than just that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, they want to welcome the students back, and they recognize the fact that students learn best when they're in school. But the city has not yet provided us with the information and the resources and the staffing that we need to safely and successfully open schools for September.
So you sent a letter to Mayor Bill de Blasio and Chancellor Richard Carranza highlighting some of the major concerns like school nurse shortage, the lack of PPE, cleaning materials, just to name a few. Has anyone responded back, and what have they said?
No, they haven't responded back directly yet. I mean, I have heard, we will provide the resources and such. But school custodians are still telling us they don't have all the resources they need. And principals, quite frankly, are telling us that they're expecting staffing shortages. We have 10,000 teachers expected to be on medical accommodations, and with no idea of how we're going to fill those slots just at this time.
Yeah, we've even heard the governor say the PPE will be there. So let's get down to the business of this. In his press conference yesterday, Mayor Bill de Blasio said schools will have additional staffing for the new school year and that workers will have this test and tray core available that will be on hand to help. Do you have any idea what that is going to look like?
Well, I mean, we have discussed the test and trace with very scant detail, so I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like. But, I mean, the new staffing is certainly welcome. I'm just hearing that now. In fact, principals have told currently that there's a hiring freeze and are unable to hire staff. So I'm looking for details on that and exactly when principals will be told that they can open up and start hiring for the positions that they need.
So if students learn best in the classroom, there's really no doubt about that, right? Is the issue
Correct.
Here a communication issue that's causing this concern? Or is it truly a lack of these products that they're saying they're going to deliver in order to ensure safety?
Well, look, I don't think it's a communication issue. I think that, it's my understanding that we have these electrostatic sprayers coming. Some of them are on back order. You have to order quite a few for 1,700 school buildings. And there are some other materials that are on back order. But more importantly than that, it's the questions that we've been asking regarding our staffing concerns, how people are going to coordinate both blended learning, both in-person and remote learning for the students that are choosing the blended learning model. Teachers can't be in two places at once and doing two things at one time. So we haven't gotten any real answers on those questions. And these are critical for us to be able to open up.
So the Department of Education put out a statement saying, in part, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, you say that this statement is a little misleading. Let me get to it. Here it is on our screen. We engage our union partners every day and have been discussing policy details for weeks, including the first day of school. The CSA and UFT know we will only open our doors if we meet the strictest standards set by any school district in the nation, and that protecting health and safety has always been driven our work together. So let me get back to that question that I started off with. You say this is misleading. Why is it misleading?
Well, I mean, look, we have been meeting regularly. I wouldn't say every day, but we have been meeting regularly. But meeting and answering the critical questions that we've been asking are two completely different things. We sent them a list of questions several weeks ago, which haven't been directly answered either. Some of the questions were answered sort of in the course of business, but there are still many unanswered questions that we have been saying for months are critical to opening schools. In May, I started letting people know that principals need answers in order to successfully program their school. It's not common knowledge of how long it takes and the care and time that goes into programming and scheduling a school for student success. And every year it seems to look easy because of the time and effort these incredibly dedicated and talented school administrators put into getting schools open. And right now they're feeling very anxious and behind the eight ball. So we're going to need time to do this right.
Which goes back to my original question. This communication, this lack thereof, obviously is an issue with getting people feeling comfortable about what is on tap for the new school year. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate it, and best of luck to you. I know you got a lot on your hands.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me today.
Absolutely.